Now we are getting ready for our next speaker. And if we take a look at our agenda to see where we are, you'll see that we are ready for Josh Cavalier of Josh Cavalier AI. And Josh is going to focus on ChatGPT prompt strategies. So it'll be a nice follow-up. So with that, let's welcome Josh.
Hey, thanks, Gerald, and hello, everybody. Really quick, just a little bit about myself. As Gerald mentioned, I'm the founder of joshcavalier.ai. I have been in that role now for about 8 weeks. So I just left corporate. I was in there for 3 years as a learning architect for American Tire Distributors. And prior to that, I owned my own training business for 20 years, primarily as an Adobe authorized training partner. Had training facilities around the United States, trained over 30,000 people in those 20 years. And I'm anxious to start working with everybody here on AI. In so much, I left corporate. So here I am. You know what? This is your mini lesson today. Just a little bit of information about how to make great prompts. But before we get into prompts, I want to make sure we level set and get into exactly how ChatGPT and other large language models work. So this is all through natural language processing. And we've been doing this day in and day out on our smartphones. When you text, there's autocorrection. That's natural language processing. When you use Google Maps, natural language processing, or talk to Siri or Google, right? Natural language processing. Well, now it's at scale with ChatGPT. And I just want to take a moment and break down how a sentence like, how do I cook a smoked potato salad, goes through the transformer. Now you may be asking yourself, Josh, that's a really crazy sentence. Where did that come from? Well, during COVID, my hobby was smoking food. So I thought, heck, if I'm going to go ahead and prompt, I might as well make it fun. And this is the one hobby where my wife is like, you need to keep doing that. Like the brewing beer thing, you can stop doing that. So, anyways, I'm locked in on smoking food. And over again, I ran this prompt. How do I cook a smoked potato salad? Even with Llama 2 that just came out, I'm still prompting about this potato salad. Anyways, okay, so I send the prompt. It goes through text pre-processing. So symbols, capitalization, things like that start going away. And then those words get converted into individual tokens. So you may have heard that term token, and pretty much 100 tokens is 75 words. And this is what's required when the information is sent up to the large language model. Then now we get into math, but I promise you there is no calculus here. So all these words get converted into vectors or a numeric representation of that word in the model. Once we convert it to numbers, you throw that thing through a neural network. And this is where the magic happens. So we have multiple layers that our words go through in this neural network. And as they go through this network, all kinds of awesome things happen, like weights and biases and activation functions. But the really cool thing is that when you use words, those words are focused in on, like really important words, like in this case, cook or potato salad. Now, the one word that I used here when I first started prompting was smoked. I really didn't know what I was doing when I first started using ChatGPT. And so as I was modifying my prompts, it actually stopped me because it thought I was trying to smoke a potato like a cigarette. Well, obviously I had to change my prompt. So, but those things happen. Then finally, once it goes through that neural network and it comes back at us, those tokens, the numbers, are converted back to words. Then, of course, those basic words, they need some capitalization and symbols. And so we have post-processing, and now we get our sentences back. Now, for most of you, you probably heard this story before, but I know for some, you may be thinking that ChatGPT or Bard or Claude is going out to the internet and grabbing blocks of text, and it really doesn't work that way. It's like a large probability engine, and each word through calculations, some of them have higher probabilities of showing up than others. In the case of my sentence, like how do I cook a smoked potato salad? Potato and salad had a high probability of showing up. All right, well, let's get into prompts. 2 prompts I'm going to show you today include a free-form prompt and a structured prompt. The free-form prompt over on the left-hand side is what most people start out with. And this is when you are just going in there and typing in sentences. The structured prompt is when you want to do something fairly dynamic out of the gate with your first prompt. Let's take a look at a free-form prompt. I got some tips for you here that's going to help out. Let's go ahead and take a look at role. So the first thing you want to do is give your prompt a role. In this case, instructional designer. Why is that? As I mentioned before, words are important. The combination of words, instructional and designer, are going to tune or focus the results coming back, those probabilities of words coming back, with all the words that are related to instructional designer. Now, you can apply this to anything, like financial planner, right? So you can go ahead and use that as the first part of your prompt. Then we want to get into the task. What do we want to do? And in this case, create learning objectives. But again, this could be any task that you want as part of the prompt. Then we want to go ahead and give it instructions. So these are the details, right? And again, all the various details that you can give it is going to bring back better results. And I just want to go ahead and show you real quick. Sorry. Sample prompt here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and take that prompt and throw that into chat here real quick so you have that, because everybody likes a free prompt. But again, that formula can be applied really to anything. And so you can go ahead and copy that prompt that's in chat currently, give it a shot, obviously change it up to whatever you need it. Okay? Excellent. All right. So the other one is a structured prompt. Hey, if you're not a programmer, don't worry. Okay. So even though this is looking a little intimidating, putting structure into prompts really helps in regards to maintaining your prompts or sharing prompts with team members. So think about writing a large prompt and you need to go in and tweak or make adjustments. These large language models are changing day in and day out, and so should your prompts. But if you work in a team and you use a prompt that is a bunch of sentences or paragraphs, it may be difficult to modify or change. That's the reason why we use structure. So that example, same concept in regards to finance, looks a little bit like this. So here we have a format called a Tracy prompt: task, role, audience, create, and intent. And the response here is way deeper and better than our prior prompt, the freeform prompt. Now, either one's going to work. It really depends upon your objectives and what you're trying to do. So let me go ahead and give you that. I'm going to put that in chat, and now you have an example of a structured prompt. The structure that I gave you is called YAML, which for non-programmers is probably easier than another structure, JSON, which I use also. All right, so now you have those two. Now, the reason why we want to create a great prompt is something through what we call a prompt sequence or a prompt chain. If you start with a great prompt, those additional prompts are going to create awesome content all the way throughout the chain. So if you have a horrible prompt and you have some bad, response from ChatGPT or another large language model, well, that you might have to work harder in that chain to get what you're looking for. So we always want to start with a really good prompt that's going to bring back words that we need in that response, and then continue prompting through that chain. All right. Sorry, and so there's the There is the graphic on the prompt and the results. Some of the ways that you can prompt: generate text, name entity recognition, text correction, text classification, text summarization, question answering, and language translation. Tons of different things that you can do with ChatGPT that you may not be aware of. So more than just generating text, for instance, if I have a report of instructors and scores from that instructors or feedback from that instructors, I can use named entity recognition to find a certain instructor and get information back. So there's so much more that you can do than just straight text generation. And my challenge to you is to go out and look for examples of these and try them, just beyond, creating your next poem or story or anything like that, or marketing email. Get out there and try some of these other techniques. Some other ways that you can leverage ChatGPT beyond just a prompt include Bing search, which they have turned off. So people were gaming the system and going around paywalls and grabbing content using the Bing search capability. So they have turned that off temporarily. Hopefully we get that back so we can get real-time feedback. ChatGPT plugins. Jordan's going to go ahead and hit that later on. So stick around. Don't leave. That's going to be a good one. And code interpreter, which I'm just starting to go nuts over, where you can actually insert documents and prompt against them to get information back against Excel spreadsheets, CSV files, PDFs. It's absolutely amazing. So a lot more to find out about there. Hopefully you learned a little bit today about prompting, and I gave you those sample prompts, so please try those out. You can see how they work. If you want to get some free prompts, you can go ahead and check out the link, go.joshcavalier.com/prompts. I also have a great masterclass that's kicking off here on August 1st, and I'd love to work with your team. So there's some information there if you want to set up a time to meet. I'd love to talk to you about a workshop. Thanks, Gerald. Really appreciate it.
Thank you again. And I want to tell you, Josh, that you made the most of 15 minutes, and it leaves me wanting to take a full course from you. So congratulations on what you put together.